Greetings, punks, goths, metalheads, herberts, betters, Martians and subterranean folk. How are you all doing? My name's John and this is the Health Anarchist channel. Well, today I'm in an absolutely beautiful location. We're just in Upper Mill in Saddleworth and I'm just outside the Church Inn. Now it's this beautiful inn, it's in the middle of the countryside next to this really cool gothic old church. Now I'll just show you the inn before we get off. So this is the Church Inn, really cool little inn in the middle of the countryside. So this is St Chad's Church. I like that name, Chad. And it's a beautiful Gothic style church, and we're going to have a look round here. So I was up here a few weeks ago when I did a video on Saddleworth Parish Cemetery. Now someone told me just over the road, just where I am now, there's a really cool cemetery which is attached to this church, St Chad's, which I didn't know about and missed it, but it's always great when I get a bit of local knowledge off people. So shall we have a look at this cool old graveyard? Yeah! So down we go, folks. So beautiful old cemetery, and you know I love old cemeteries. I just find them really peaceful and beautiful. Now where we are now, near the Church Inn, it would make an absolutely fantastic location for a horror movie, because you've got that isolated little inn in the middle of the countryside next to a church with this old Gothic style graveyard. This is one of those graveyards that's a little bit overgrown, and there is a certain beauty to these type of places. So this cemetery, it's actually jam-packed full of graves. They're just everywhere. Just spotted the cemetery cat in the far distance. Cool. Look at that. So we've got a really cool old grave here. Let's try and zoom in on this. So we've got this grave belongs to Joseph and Betty Wood, formerly of Stones Wood, but now of Huddersfield. The above Joseph Wood died July 27, 1865 in his 63rd year. Also Elizabeth, their daughter, who died January 22nd, 1865, aged 17 years. And I can't make out the end bit. Some really old tombs here. As I said, it's just jam-packed full of graves. Interesting. So this is a really cool old graveyard. It's probably better than the one that I went to across the road a few months ago. It's just so interesting, very overgrown though. It's hard to know where to walk, where the paths are. But one thing that I found out that was really interesting about cemeteries was a while ago, I was wondering why you never really see any graves older than like 1780, and it's rare when you do, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is, before that time we used to generally bury people for about 100 years, and then they'd dig them up, collect the bones and put them in a place called a charnel house. And these houses were where they stacked piles and piles of bones and skulls, kind of a bit like the Paris catacombs, if you've seen those. And the reason they did this was to make way for newer graves, so that's why you don't see a lot of really old graves from, like, you know, 1450, 1570, 1632. These kind of graves you don't see really unless they're in sort of isolated places where they've escaped being gathered and brought into the charnel houses. Now there is still a few charnel houses left in this country where they have the bones and skulls stacked. I looked at a couple of places on the internet, so if you're interested, if you research charnel houses UK, then you should be able to get some more information about it. Now don't say it's not an educational channel. What's the year on that? 1845. And we have some very simple basic graves. John Harrison Dobcross. Some small ones here. Here. So here we've got an 1879. Down here we've got an 1855. Wow. Look at the size of these big old tombs. They're huge. They are massive tombs. Probably the biggest ones I've seen. So we've got some really overgrown areas like here. Different types of enclosed tombs, I think. But that's the beautiful countryside setting we're in. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful enclosed overgrown tomb there. So as graveyards go, this even beats the other one. I was at a few weeks ago. I mean, it's just beautiful, overgrown, just jam-packed full of old graves and tombs, and just fascinating to see. And I mainly come up here to check out the pub, which I popped in for a drink, and check out this old graveyard. And there's a bit of a countryside walk as well on the way back, so I'll be bringing you guys along with me on that too. So for those of you into old graveyards like me, this is St Chad's Church Graveyard in Upper Mill, Saddleworth, and if you come up here, make sure to pop in the Church Inn next door as well, and they have some great vegan options. I've just been looking. So I'm just walking in between the church and the cemetery now, and there should be a little track at the back of here which leads me onto a nice countryside walk back to Upper Mill. So hopefully I'll find it in a minute. I think this is the track that leads back to Upper Mill. I absolutely love it round here, everything that I like, beautiful rural locations, but still some civilisations, shops, pubs, and you know, transport links, trains and buses. If I ever make any money in life, or if I ever get in a better position, I'm going to move either round here, round Upper Mill, or Greenfield, or Glossop, and those are the places that I'll probably move to at some point in my life. So I've had a really nice wander around the church and cemetery, popped in the pub for a drink, and I'm in my absolute element now. Absolute beautiful countryside, and I love it. A lot of walkers, they'll want to do the big names like Kinder Scout, Snowdon, Ben Nevis and all this type of thing. I mean, I've done all that when I was a teenager. You don't need to be going miles and miles away to get on good walks. There's loads of walks locally, and there's loads around here I haven't been on yet. So it's worth checking out your own area and what walks you've got near you. It's not all about big names and, you know, being able to say a big name that everyone's been on, Ben Nevis or Snowdon. It's not all about that. It's about getting into countryside and walking for your surroundings, and you can find your own things. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. Do your own thing and be yourself. So what I'm trying to say is, find your own ways, find your own paths, find your own adventures. You don't need to copy everyone else. So seen quite a few rabbits and pheasants today. They're a bit far off to get a good shot, but I always find it uplifting when you see animals in nature. Big hare up ahead on the track, on the right hand side of the track. Can you see it? You might have seen it move then. So I reckon this track, what I'm on, I reckon this was a track that people use from Upper Mill to go up to the church up there. Cool, quirky little style there. I always get fascinated by the different varieties of gates and styles, and you see some mad contraptions sometimes, and this doesn't disappoint. Right, I'm getting near civilization, so I think I'm going to wrap this video up for today now. So thanks for coming with me on this little walk. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care now. Bye.